Welcome to the second part of how to use pixellab for beginners. If you have not watched the first video I made, please kindly do so, because now I'm going to be talking about these icons that we have down here. In the previous video, I talked about all the icons we had up here. So let's focus on the ones we have down here now. Now the first icon we have here happens to be this icon with three circles. This one right here having three circles. Yes. Now this icon refers to the styles icon. You can see this style, this style, this style, and many other styles like that. So if you scroll, you will see we have different ones. Excuse me, on and on and on. So let's say you click on this shiny. Are you sure you want to open the project? Any progress will be lost. Okay. So adverts can happen in between while you're working and your data is on. So just keep that in mind. So I can also change. Can you see? I can change from this to this or this. So let's say you change to something like this. You already have a text, and then you can change the name of this text. This is like a style already. Can you see this one? Curved text already. Can you see this one? 3D text already. You can see this as well. And then you can see this as well. So all of these are styles. They are all styles. You can see. So here now, you just need to change the text and then save. Look at this one now. The background is different. That was why it had to like bring that message. Can you see? So depending on what you want, but what we do majorly is that we just scroll down and then click on white. That's what we want to use majorly. We just scroll down and click on white. So we have talked about the first icon. The second icon right here, which is this A icon. Yes, so that's the next thing we are going to talk about now. That's the next thing we're going to talk about. So this, sorry, okay, this A icon right here. Now that is the text icon. So if you click on the A, it will give you text and quotes. Click on text. So let's say I've told you how to enlarge and things like that. So let's say I want to write. Click on edit here. You can see this icon right here. Edit. So click on edit to edit the text. So I'll just click on the dustbin icon, that is the recycle bin icon, and then Lyurian. Let me just write it in capital letter. Lyurian, right? So let's say this is what I have right here. Now the next icon, yes, I'm going to be explaining these icons one after the other. The next icon here is the delete icon. So let's say I click on the delete icon, it is gone. And remember, we talked about the redo icon, I mean the undo icon. So the next icon here is the copy icon. And you see, once I clicked on copy, another one showed on top, right? So we now have two. Let's see what we have here. Um, to front and to back. We're going to skip that because we don't need them now until we do some things. So let's talk about the position. Look at this position right here. You can see here we have 6 pixels. We have all these icons right here, right? Back, forward, up, down, right? So what we are going to do now is that if I press up, can you see? But if I increase this pixel and I press up, it will be jumping faster, just like your gear in the car. So that's what this one does. So in case maybe you want to just make minimal movement, you reduce the move by to like 2 pixels or 3 pixels, and then you start moving. Can you see it is very, very slow, right? Yeah. So let's say you want it to close up a bit. Can you see that? So that is how you do that, and then you hit the check button right here. Can you see that? So just hit the check button and there you have it. So we have the relative position. Relative position, you can like make right alignment, left alignment, up alignment, down alignment, or centralized. Can you see? This one has centralized it vertically, then this one will centralize it horizontally. Let me move this away and then do this again. So centralize, centralize. Can you see? So at this point now, it simply means that this name is at the middle of this whole page. It is at the middle of this whole page, right? So that's just that about that. Click the check icon, and then the next thing we want to see text size. If you click on text size and then you increase it, can you see? So the same function that this icon here is performing is the same function this size is also performing, right? So let's just check that. Let's see padding. Left padding, what is it saying? Can you see the way it is moving away from this edge? The way it is moving away from this edge. Left padding. When we drag this forward, resets. Right padding. Can you see? So we don't want to pad reset and then X. Color, yeah. So let's say we want to change the color. You can see what I said about contrast. Don't use light color on light background. So we need to pick a color that is deep, that can easily show. Can you see? Red on white, perfect. Then you just check this icon, red on white. So texture, let's say we want to add texture. Let's use this lady. Can you see? So it's as though we clipped that lady into the text. So if you want to use texture, you can see maintain ratio, you can see the scale. Can you see? So let's just leave it like that or turn off the texture. Can you see? So we have opacity. Opacity talks about how well it is showing, how well something is showing. Can you see? So if I drop it down, it's no longer showing. If I increase it, it is showing. Click the checkbox. Rotate. We have the rotate. Can you see? I can reset, right? Rotate, rotate. So you check the angle. So for some of you that want to do designs like this and you want everything to be slant, then you need to pay attention to whatever angle you are seeing here, so that any other element you want to put out, you want it to be slant as well. It needs to follow this same angle, which is angle 17, which is like I'm using now. So your own could be any other angle, but just make sure you note the angle so that it will work out fine. Then the next thing is we have the mask. So masking helps you to like reduce some parts of, can you see? It's like it's removing those parts. It's like it's covering those parts, but without showing that they have been covered. So we have mask in, we have mask out. Can you see? Mask in. So we can create an effect that looks like an opening. We can create an effect that looks like an opening. Mask in, mask out. You understand? So let's say we do mask out here, and then we pick this guy up to this guy. Can you see? Now, in this case now, what are we going to do? Remember we talked about the zoom icon. We zoom in, and then we now come back to the position here. Reduce this number of pixels to like 2 or 1. Can you see? And then I check. So by the time I use this pixel back, so you see, you can just use it to create something interesting, and it's going to be like, okay, wow, how did you actually do that? All right, so let's just proceed. So we have fonts. Let me take this, the mask, disable the mask, and then now let's talk about fonts. So there are different font styles here. You can just click on anyone. For example, I'm clicking on this chunk 5, and then I'll click OK down here. Can you see that when the text became bolder, the red color of the text, like, it came out better, right? So that's that about fonts. You just click on font, you choose different fonts that you want. All right, so let's move on to the next thing. So one of the things I'm going to make sure that I do is that after completing videos on how to use pixellab, so I'm going to make a video on how you can download fonts. You can see I have some fonts right here. So how you can download fonts, because you will need to download a lot of fonts. You need to download a lot of fonts so that your work will always look professional. However, if you are watching this video and this is the free video, the how to download will be in my paid class. So just in case you haven't gotten the course, the comprehensive graphics design course, please make sure to do so you can have access to all of these things. Okay, so we have all of these fonts right here. You can see this is why some people's work looks very, very interesting, because of the kind of fonts they use. It looks mature, it looks cool, it looks nice. So let me just finish on text. Then we have style. So under style, you can make it bold. Can you see it got thicker? You can make it bold, italic, or underlined, or slashed. So I'm not sure if this, let me see if this one can use slash. So they are not allowing it. Some others would allow it. So that's just that about that. So let's click on curve. We're trying to bend the font, right? So let's say you want to bend this around a circle or something. So you can see this right here. So this is how people create those curves that you wonder how did they go about them. Okay, so next thing we have background. Let me use this. So when you click on background right here, you have this background color. Scroll up, you can change your background color. Can you see yellow? Yellow and red still flows together because it makes the red easy to read, right? You can't use red and red, so you have yellow and red. So you can see I'm curving the radius of that of the padding of the background color. So that is if you actually want to do that. If you don't want to do that, no problem. Now we are going to talk about alignment. We have the left alignment, center alignment, and right alignment. You may not really get this easily, but what it means is, let's say you have some words written. Okay, let's quickly do something. So let's just put Librarian Digital Graphics Graphic Design class. So Librarian Digital Graphics Design class, I'm going to take this one off. Okay, so Librarian Digital Graphics Design class. Now let's go back to alignment. So under alignment, if I pick left alignment, can you see the way everything ran to the left? And it was not as if there's an imaginary straight line right here. Are you getting it? So we have this like this. And then if I click center, can you see? And if I click left alignment, can you see what is happening? So it's just as simple as that. Remember, how did this box get there? We used this text background. So we can decide to remove it, and then we can decide to put it. So now let's talk about another thing, line spacing. Line spacing, can you see as everything is giving, they are giving each other gap. You can see. So you can bring them, yeah. They shouldn't be too close, neither should they be too far, since they are all functioning together as one single statement. So let's do strokes. So let's do strokes. I turn on the stroke. You can see the stroke black. I just increase the width a bit. You can see. But now the stroke, the black and everything is not looking okay with the background. So let me turn off the background. Yes. So can you see? So spacing, we have letters and we have words. So I can decide to space out the words. Can you see? I can decide to space out the letters too, because the stroke is making everything like compressed. So I can decide to space out so it will still be easy for people to read. Then we have shadow. You can create shadow. As you can see, you can reduce the opacity of the shadow, something very soft. Yeah, something soft. You have your blur radius, and you see, you have your outer glow if you want it like that. So everything is just based on what you want, based on what looks good to you. You can see that this yellow gave it another feel entirely. You can see. So it's making it look as if it is glowing. And then we have the inner shadow. So that one we did was the outer shadow. We have the inner shadow. I'm trying to use a color that would be very, very obvious. And you see, it's as if green is dominating the inside. So let's talk about emboss. Emboss is not giving us what we want. So we can do something like this for emboss. Let's copy and then edit and then take out all of these guys. But okay, so let's say, remember when something is like this, what do you do? Just stretch it out, reduce it, put it here. So let's say we want to emboss. I think there is stroke. Take away the stroke. There is shadow. Take away the shadow. Inner shadow is not there. So let's try to emboss. So reduce intensity, reduce the light softness. Level. So this is what we have right here. Let's close it. Then we have perspective, whereby you may want to make it look as if this thing is more like a carpet. Oh, sorry, I didn't enable that. I was wondering what was happening. Can you see? So you can make it look as if it is written on the floor just by putting it in perspective. Can you see? Can you see that? So all of these are things that you just need to know, familiarize yourself with, play with them and see what happens. I'm going to turn this one off. So let's see, 3D rotate. Can you see that we can make this slide down to 3D rotate? And then 3D text. Can you see? So we have the depth. You can increase the depth. You can change the depth color and darken it. So you can do a lot of settings here. Just play around it. Can you see? Just play around with it, and then you begin to familiarize yourself with it. So we have 3D shadow. Can you see? So it just looks as if its shadow drops down by itself. Then we have text reflection in case you want it to reflect like glass. You can see, in case you want it to reflect, you can see this one is moving, right? So this is how they do those reflection, yeah, those reflection designs. So we have come to the end of how to use text. For the sake of this video, I'm going to stop it here and then continue part 3 again.